Man, the start's always the hardest.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Hey
Yeah.
guys, welcome back.
Welcome back to In the Works, where we work on working works.
Today's topic is something very, I guess, special.
You know, I appreciate how you analyze things like that and put things into words so well.
What do you mean? Oh, I see what you're doing there. Yeah, I appreciate that compliment.
Oh, compliments?
Yeah, compliments.
Compliments. No, but okay. So I was thinking the other day. Well, I wasn't thinking the other day. Sometimes I think. I don't know. I think when I think. Not sure. But really what happened was I got a compliment from somebody. But it wasn't a compliment where they just were like, hey, this. And then you're like, oh, thank you. No, it was somebody sent me a song. And I listened to the song. And they were like, this song reminds me of you. And I listened to the song. And I was just like, wow. Like, that is so, like, I feel that. I really feel that, like, deeply. Like, the way the song, you know, was able to communicate its feelings and, you know, different thoughts and emotions and such. And that person thought that way about me. And I was like, that's a very pleasant thing. And, you know, I felt very warm. I'm like, I really enjoyed that. That was nice. And it got me thinking, you know, that was a compliment. But whenever people say, hey, compliment this individual, it's always like, oh, I like your shirt or something like that. And it's just not that deep of a compliment. So I was just thinking maybe we could talk about compliments in general. What makes a compliment? Deeper compliments, you know, things like that. I don't know. What do you think about?
It was crazy. I was actually talking about this to Ashley, my girlfriend, and she's just like, she made a very good point that compliments just go under love languages.
I was thinking about that too.
And I was like, wow, I don't know why I didn't think about that, because compliments, are just words of affirmation. And in terms of like someone sending you a song and saying that, hey, this song reminded me of you, it's more of a acts of service type of thing. And I just thought it was kind of interesting.
So how does that play into the other love languages? Because I was thinking about this, but I didn't dive into that. I looked into it, and because I got to what are the 5 love languages. It was yeah. It was what? Physical touch.
5 love languages.
Gotta love Google or DuckDuckGo in this case, I guess. No, we're not looking for covers. Give me the.
Well, I'm trying to.
There we go. Right there. Just click the big one or something.
This one.
Yeah, sure. There we go. Words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts. Not receiving gifts. It was acts of service where I was like, okay, I guess that could be a compliment, but that's not necessarily what makes a compliment. So that's why I didn't go into it. But I mean, that's a really good way to explore compliments to give to a person, and maybe what a person would enjoy in compliments. What else did you kind of have on that?
Well, this was very recent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say it definitely goes towards words of affirmation for the majority of it, just because a lot of compliments are just word based and you're trying to please someone and make them feel good type of thing.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's most of compliments. I feel like that's more most what people think compliments are when they think of the word compliments. You know what I mean? Okay. So I feel like people give compliments in many different ways, you know, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, quality time, acts of service, but they don't necessarily think of them under the umbrella or under the word compliments. When someone says, what is a compliment? They will talk about just like the words like you're talking about. But compliments happen all the time between individuals without necessarily focusing just on that.
Because my Webster definition is it's just an expression. So what you said, it's not just words, it's an expression of esteem, respect, affection, and admiration. And it's just an admiring remark.
I got that definition.
You got that too? Let's go.
You know what? You know what definition I kind of found that was nice?
What?
Something that completes, makes up a whole, or brings to perfection.
Something that makes up a whole or brings to perfection.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of a cool way to look at compliments.
I don't understand
that shirt compliments you. It means it brings you to perfection.
I know,
makes you
I
a
know
whole.
what you mean. Okay, so while we were doing this, there's compliment and complement.
I just learned that
I did too.
that they're two different words.
No, but the one with the E is the one that goes towards more of completing, because it's from the Latin word, just for complete. So that
You don't know Latin? What's the Latin word?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, the E in the complement is completing. So you could say, hey, those shoes look really well with your suit. And that completes the whole thing. Like you said, the whole thing.
It completes the whole. Yeah, no, I've learned that they were two different words. They are apparently the same pronunciation, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the same, but they're different, like you said. But I thought they were just two different definitions.
I did
right?
too.
Same word, two different definitions. But no, they're two separate words. And I went through a whole thing just rethinking my life of writing that word down.
Yeah.
I never knew there was a second word. Like, how can you misspell something? Changing that I and that E, it doesn't change the meaning that differently and in any context. So you wouldn't ever really get it wrong on like a spelling test or anything.
Yeah. But for the I spelling, I have an example that's just
I spelling is which one?
the comp.
The praise.
Yeah, it's just a remark. I'll just read a remark that says something good about someone or something, and something. An example of that is saying or telling someone, "Hey, what a beautiful drawing you made."
Yeah.
So, I thought that was very interesting how they're two separate things, but they're the
Same thing. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I seriously I took a lot of time to rethink those words, and I don't know. I think of in mathematics like complementary, which is like adding to 90 degrees. So that or colors, but it was just weird. Kind of more of the verbiage of compliments, but I kind of went into like how to give good compliments and like why we give compliments.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things what compliments are, but when you, oh man, there's again, oh man. All right. Let me collect my thoughts. A compliment, when you give a compliment, you are introducing somebody to characteristics about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
specifically ones that you might enjoy, praise, or have in high esteem. So when you give a compliment, you are pretty much taking a characteristic of them and showing it to themselves. So it's kind of like a self-reflection for them.
Oh, that's cool. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. So it's like when you give a compliment that may be deeper than surface level, it would be not just like, hey, I like your shirt, be like, I really enjoy, this part of your personality. I really enjoy how you make the room light up when you walk in. And that person, now they're like, oh, I make the room light up when I walk in. Maybe they know that, maybe they don't know that. And it's just, you pretty much reflect that to them, and so that they can see that for themselves. So I think compliments are kind of cool in that way, because it can give something unknown and bring it to the known.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see. No, yeah, that's definitely what I think. I don't know what else to say to that.
Well,
Just kind of
yeah. And so that's where I kind of went down the giving a compliment. Now, when you're giving a compliment that's not just surface level, like there are some things you should probably do. The biggest one is be genuine.
Mhm.
You know, how can one be genuine? Of course, say what you mean.
Yeah.
Because people know when you're lying.
Yeah.
And then your words lose value. You know, empty compliments are worthless. They don't do any good. They don't do anything really that positive. I mean, sometimes you might get away with a couple, but overall, it ends up being a negative thing if they're empty and worthless. Use their name when you're doing the compliment. Sometimes, not all the time, but just kind of that attachment that like you
Yeah.
care, showing that you care. You're using their name before you present, you know, the reflection. And then be specific. Nobody wants to hear like, you know, oh, you're the best. I mean that's kind of positive, but that goes to the empty words kind of thing. Be very specific. I really enjoy the way you work with these individuals. You know, it's really hard for them and you do great with that. You know, be very specific, because then they know exactly that kind of holds with them, because it's a self-reflection that you're giving them. That sticks with them. This is something that I'm doing right, that's having an effect on people, that say this person I respect is picking up on. Like that's a positive thing. So that sticks with them more, and they will continue to do things like that. So that was just a couple things. Asking questions too, you know, ask them more about said thing. Hey, I really like how you command the room. How do you do things like that? You know, and then that kind of shows that you care and you want to listen to them. And then you actually have to listen. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't just not. So I thought those were kind of cool ways to go a little deeper with some compliments, just at least on the speaking level.
Mm-hmm. So on that last one, where it was pretty much saying, hey, I like how you command this room.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it? I actually found some information online about, I want to say it was more about types of compliments
Okay.
and how these certain types can both be good and possibly bad because of the way people perceive things.
I could see that. Okay. Well, show me where you're heading now.
The one that you spoke of, I have it. Let me give this person credit. Okay, so it was kind of an old article, but it was by Suzanne Kraus Whitburn.
Mm-hmm.
Has PhD, but she wrote this in 2013, so it's almost a decade old. But I still found it very valuable.
There's plenty of old things that are valuable.
So the one you expressed was envious. The envious compliment.
Was that what I was expressing?
So
does it have to be within that? Because I mean, I love how you command the room isn't necessarily envious. It'd be like, that's just really cool how you do that.
Yeah, but you're also saying
That you
tell
like,
me how to do that. Well, it wasn't necessarily that exactly, because the way you word it is not how a lot of people would word it. Because most people would word it by saying, hey, I really like this. And let me start from the beginning. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, take your time.
So it's when a person pretty much wants or loves the idea of, you know, an item of clothing, jewelry, hairstyle, or skill. I slurred on hairstyle.
Oh, you're okay. Continue.
And skill. And that's where what you said brought my attention, because, you know, that's a skill that someone can learn. But when someone expresses this admiration, you know, liking how they do things, it can be mixed up for their own desire of, you know, wanting, like they're just trying to get something out of it. You're like, hey, it's really cool you do this. Teach me how to do it. rather than, hey, I'm really bad at commanding a group. Do you think you could help me with that? So instead of, it's pretty much like an indirect compliment in a way, because you're going off yourself and saying, hey, I'm not good at this, but I know you are. Can you help me with it?
I see.
Rather than saying, hey, you're good with this, help me with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like those things are very similar. Just one is even more selfish than the other.
Yeah.
Because what I meant earlier with that, like, hey, I love how you command the room. Like, how do you do that? It wasn't necessarily to gain information for yourself, but it was to allow them to like affirm, who they are in that sense, and also let them kind of talk about maybe something they enjoy doing, or it kind of, because it's a self-reflection.
Yeah.
When you're giving this compliment to them, it's a self-reflection, so they could kind of process that, like, oh, how do I do this? And so for you, I mean, you might get value out of it, you might learn something, maybe you won't, but for them it sticks with them a little more. It's just so they focus more on the compliment itself.
Okay.
And just kind of think, yeah. So it's the example I was giving wasn't necessarily anything for self, but I guess that makes sense with what you were saying, the envious thing, like, oh, I can't do that, I want to do that. Hey, I love how you command the room.
And like I said, this isn't for everyone.
Yeah. It's
People
just a
interpret
type.
things differently.
It's a type, yeah.
But like I was saying, it was just a way it could be taken wrong, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
So you got more types, right?
Yeah, man, I got 8 more types.
8 more types. All right, give us a run through these types.
Oh my god. Okay.
I mean, if you don't want to do all of them, you don't have to. You could just do some.
No, so I mean, I'll just list them all real quick, and if you find one interesting,
And then just do a
I
short
can
breakdown.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, just tell me about some, and then give me a little snippet. And if
Yeah,
I'm
well-
curious, I'll ask questions.
Well, the first one being the ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
You know, English is my third language. It's my third language, and I'm dyslexic.
That's misleading.
I'm not dyslexic, but I do have a hard time reading.
I really enjoy the fact that you have a hard time reading. Okay, that was
You
terrible.
know, I was in ELO.
Oh, really?
It was. I mean, it's called something different now, but
I think I was.
it used to be called. It was short for English language learners.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. For math class, it's kind of funny now, but for math class, I was in a similar thing for that. They were like, oh man, he doesn't know how to add things, multiply things. And it really was just me being nervous on tests.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, the first one, ambiguous compliment.
The ambiguous compliment.
So I wrote down that it was kind of defined, or yes. So it was being doubtful or uncertain, especially from obscurity or indistinctiveness.
So what's an example of that?
So an example is, let's see. So when someone says, a good meal from you is a rare treat.
Okay, you're not sure. You're like, is this person,
Like, is
that an insult? Or is that a thank you
Yeah.
question mark?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's that uncertainty and obscurity, because
Yeah,
you don't
obscure.
you just don't know.
That was a great one, because I was just like, well, is
Yeah,
that a
threw you off
compliment or
too.
not?
It threw you off too, huh?
All right, what do we got next?
But so going into a little bit more, you could be meaning, the meal was, great, and you rarely get to have that type of thing.
Yeah.
So like, wow, that was great. I really get to have that. That's awesome.
Mhm.
But obviously, it also
It'd be
sounds like very sarcastic, and it's just like, oh,
You don't really cook that well often. It'd be like, ouch. Yeah.
So that one's the ambiguous one. I have. Oh, I guess because it has that two different type of
Mhm.
understandings, like you don't know, it's very obscure. It goes under I think it's pronounced lexical.
Lexical?
Lexically
That sounds
ambiguous. And it's just the definition was pretty much of or relating to words on the vocabulary of a language as distinguished from its grammar and construction. So it's pretty much how you construct the sentence and word it,
Gotcha.
because the word rare has more than one meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be taken in multiple ways, and that's why no one really knew if it was like, is that good? or is that
all right,
bad?
all right, okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe.
Yeah, F you or thank you.
Yeah.
One of the two.
So, there's that one. The second one is the too frequent compliment.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna guess this one. Is that kind of like when you're in a relationship and you're like, oh, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful,
Are you
you're
attacking
beautiful,
me?
you're beautiful. Not you. I'm just saying, because that happens. Like you mean it and you want to say it, but they hear it all the time. They're just like, I get it. Yeah, I'm beautiful. Whatever bullshit. You know.
Yeah, people
Is
actually.
it that one?
It is.
Yeah.
Like I said, all this stuff is just doesn't apply to everyone.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
It could apply in specific situations too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just really depending on, like you said, just situation.
Mm-hmm.
Very situational compliments. But the too frequent compliment is pretty much being subject to. They compared it to being subject to the laws of of economics. So it's just kind of like money. The more you make and give,
Yeah.
the less value it has.
Gotcha.
Like I said, only some people. Other people love it.
Oh,
Words of affirmation.
I get. Okay. I could see how that. It's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes they need to be told they're beautiful every day.
Like I said, these things are just possibilities of how someone can take that wrong, because it's how the other person perceives things, not so much how you really say it. So, because you give it a lot, some people may think it just comes across as insincere, and even, gosh, sorry, my nose,
Oh, you're okay.
mucus. Anyway, some people can see it as insincere, even though you genuinely feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And another downside of being too frequent with compliments is people will expect compliments from you every time you see them. And like I said, not everyone. I just have to reiterate that.
Yeah.
Not everyone. But because that happens, some people may be waiting for a compliment.
The absence is an insult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you give out too many compliments and you don't notice something on someone, that other person would probably get upset because.
Yeah, like I like your shoes, I like your haircut, but you didn't notice like the earrings.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is that. All right.
All right, what else we got? Let's run through these.
Number 3, the inappropriate compliment. You want to take a guess? It happens all the time with
Okay.
men and women.
You think somebody will enjoy the compliment, but given the context, they do not want that compliment. So, and I'm guessing inappropriate doesn't just mean like sexual. It could also be like poor bedside manner. Like, someone just died.
Yeah.
Don't say
Yeah.
that. So is that?
No, definitely. You're spot on.
Yeah.
Under it, she said that it was overstepping boundaries, professional or even personal relationships by noting some aspect of an individual's appearance or talents that presumes over over familiar that I can't talk. Over familiarity. Wow. English is hard. But yeah, she also says in some cases it can be used for like manipulation in a situation to make it appear that two people are closer than they really are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So an example I have here is so someone, I guess your boss, gets complimented on his shoes by someone else, just an employee. Employee. And they can't really complain about that, right? Because it's a compliment.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they can't feel uncomfortable
About shoes.
It's very, just take it with a grain of salt, you know. Just, you can even replace it with something more drastic.
How about this one?
Okay,
How about this
go
one?
ahead.
You comment on someone's figure. Wow, you have a very nice figure. In a professional environment,
Yes.
that's borderline harassment, right? Say if you are married to someone and you're about to, go on a date and they put on a very nice dress. Wow, I like your figure in that dress. That's more of a compliment. That's appropriate for that situation. Whereas at work, that is very inappropriate.
Yes.
Of something like that.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, they can't really complain about it.
Like,
'cause
oh,
it's
thank you.
compliment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they are just very
It's like,
uncomfortable.
I'm not that close to you, dude. Like, I
And-
don't know you.
You see that a lot,
Yeah, that's
just in everyday life.
out of
It's a
context
lot.
compliments. Yeah. I mean, I can think back
So
to a lot of
even-
ones that like I've said that, aren't bad. It was just slightly like,
Yeah.
okay, in a different context that would have worked better. I was like, yeah, you're right.
But this goes with just even, like city. Like if you're in the city, I know women get catcalled a lot, and
Oh, is that specifically what you were trying to refer to?
well, it's just another example, really.
Okay.
Like the guy would compliment them, leaving just them just uncomfortable because they're just a random stranger that just boom, and it's just kind of like, wow, that's really creepy. Please don't talk to me.
Yeah. And that that's one aspect of it, because there are certainly other examples of not appropriate contexts that don't involve.
I do
like,
have another one.
okay, all right,
So another boss one.
another boss.
So okay,
Everyone's
okay.
complimenting their
So
bosses.
how about this?
Okay.
You were a shift lead at a service industry. So some newbie who started working there for maybe like 2 weeks, just like,
Is this a real example?
yeah, I mean, no.
Okay. I'm trying to think,
not real.
who was it?
No. some dipshit is just like, wow, you handled that really well, Brandon. How would that make you feel? Because you're the boss for a reason.
Yeah, that would make me feel good. I'm
Really?
like, thank you. Because if the guys under you are saying, wow, you handled that poorly, or they didn't say anything at all, like, I mean, saying nothing at all is not a bad thing, but if they said, wow, you didn't handle that well.
Maybe it's just the wording for me.
Okay, what's another wording?
Because, well, not so much for that. Because whenever it's like, hey, so you're dealing with a difficult, customer, and it's frustrating. You go back and forth a lot. Someone comes up and say, "Wow, hey, you handled that really well." It could have another meaning of like, well, of course I handled that well. I'm the boss. I'm in charge for a reason.
I feel like that.
So I feel like that's just like a backhanded compliment
So
thing.
I get what you're saying about backhanded compliment. I guess just with those specific examples, it doesn't fit well. It's the context isn't right for that. Because if I were managing and somebody was like, "Hey, you did that very well," and it was a customer, I'd be like, "Sweet." You know, I didn't handle that poorly, even though I might have been like, Jesus Christ, like. So I don't know. In that specific kind of example, I wouldn't see where that would be inappropriate. But you know, I could see many moments where, you know, say you're in an argument with somebody and they're like, "Oh, I really enjoy," you know, oh no, that's another backhanded compliment. It's just backhanded compliments span a wide thing.
And because it can be a backhanded compliment, it can also, I want to say it also feels like, I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
No, that's fine. Let's go to the next one then.
Okay.
I think we understand inappropriate.
Yeah.
Context is inappropriate.
We already did envious. We just kind of already went over that. The fifth one being the awkward compliment. And she explicitly said this was more of like a cringe-worthy. Any guesses?
I mean, you just I can think of the feeling. I can't think of just specific examples, but the feeling when someone gives a compliment and you're just like they're ass kissing, or it's out of context and you're just like, oh, that is, or they just, or it's just weird. Like,
So,
like I get it. I just don't know how to.
So one example she actually listed was being in a group and you complimenting and singling out one person.
And that's where everyone goes, ooh. Especially if it's like a male to a female or vice versa, then everyone goes, ooh, you like him.
Well, that's one reaction you could get.
And it's awkward for, you know, the two involved.
Oh, I'm just talking about like just, I guess it could be that type of group. I was more thinking of like maybe 4 to 6 type of thing, like just a larger group. Because when you're singling out one person, it's just like, I can't help but think that some of them will think, why did they just
only that
person? What's wrong with me?
Say you're in a friend group, bunch of them are females, and you say to one of them, wow, you just look so, you know, like pretty today. Like your hair, the nails, the earrings, like it all goes together very well. To just that one, and all of them are just looking at you like cool.
And then it's just kind of awkward.
Yeah, then it's like, wow, all right, asshole. Usually they'll point that out. People will point that out though. They'll be like, oh, what about me? Like, and then they'll kind of laugh about it. But there have certainly been some compliments where I just go, oh, I wish that person did not say that. Or even me, where I'm like, can I recant my statement?
Well, here's a different take on the awkwardness. Instead of like a group of people you just kind of know, this one was pretty much you're out in a restaurant, you're probably with like your significant other or just someone you get along with, you know, really well, and you go ahead and tell the cook, hey, this is the best whatever it is I've ever had. Meanwhile, that other person you're eating out with makes it all the time.
Oh yeah. So with this one, it's always one compliment is always to the detriment of either somebody else or something else.
Yeah.
Like when you make the compliment, it doesn't rise everything up. It takes away from something else is what I'm hearing.
Definitely.
Okay.
So
What's that next one?
okay, so compliments that's on compliments that deal with the wrong set of qualities.
I love how you beat your dog every day. He doesn't own a dog, so I'm not saying that. which I hate animal abuse, but
No, yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Do you have any like guesses on this one, or is it,
So
or do you
wrong.
think it's just
It's
fair?
so it's kind of the wrong attributes is what you're saying. Like, oh, okay, so it could be maybe something somebody hates about themselves, or it could be something that morally, from your moral values or a group's set of moral values, is not an okay thing, and you are praising that instead. So it's just praising the wrong thing. Is that kind of what it is?
Yes, generally.
Okay.
So what I have down is compliments that sorry, I'm just reading. I had to rush on this, I had to really go at it.
I found that I really cannot read my handwriting that well, but I refuse to type it. So
I feel that. I
Yeah.
just don't want to look at the screen.
yeah.
Anyway, so I have praising relevant to a situation. So when it's like not relevant, it definitely creates that self-doubt in the other person. And there was actually a study by someone else that this was a decade ago
I like how you cite your sources.
by Reese Miller. And so the study was pretty much gathering compliments from college students
Mm.
and how they or what they compliment on. So the men would actually to other men compliment on their competence, while women in everyday social situations, this is all social situations right now, but women to other women would compliment on physical appearance.
Mm.
And I thought that was interesting because later it went into being switched to a work related situation, and it was shown that men and women would focus on complimenting on competence.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's pretty much an extreme example would be if you're in the work environment and someone's doing a phenomenal job, and you just, instead of complimenting on their performance, you would compliment on
Oh.
something else.
Okay.
And
okay.
so that leaves them possibly thinking, am I not doing a very good
Yeah,
job?
like you just sealed a deal or something, and the person is like, your boss comes up to you, and you're like, ready to hear that, like, good job, and
Yeah.
they say, I like your shoes today,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Just-
thanks, but okay, what a letdown. I was expecting a nice job sealing that deal.
yeah, it's pretty much just not getting.
What do you think you
What is
deserve?
It's not receiving the compliment of how well you performed. Instead, you got something that was pretty much worthless because
Yeah. It wasn't right place or right time. There were specific compliments that would be complimentary in that situation.
But yeah, it also goes with gender, racial, and ethnic groups.
Gotcha.
So it's very depersonalized
Mm-hmm.
for compliments. Like an example is, you hear this all the time. Asians are good at math.
Are you good at math?
No. I mean, I'm not bad, but Asians are good at math.
Okay.
And then another one, women are nurturing.
Mm. So it's a compliment, but in a specific case, it may not do anything. Like it.
Yeah, so pretty
If
much.
I said to you, Asians were good at math, you're like,
yeah.
I don't really do math,
So
dude.
pretty much what that does is, instead of targeting that one person, like, hey, you're really good at math,
Mm-hmm.
it's Asians are good at math. So it's targeting more of a group, a social group.
It invalidates
Yes.
you.
Yeah,
per
pretty
se.
much.
Okay.
And so it's just another worthless compliment.
You're like, thanks,
cool.
bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, get away from me.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one?
The seventh one is unintentionally rude compliment.
That fits, I feel like, in a lot of the other ones.
Definitely.
Because it's the backhanded compliment is what I feel.
No, definitely.
Like, I like how you were just you in every situation. And you're like, thanks.
Yeah. So it's pretty much compliments that sound more sarcastic based on, emphasis on certain words. Like, oh, well, what a great job you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, yep, thanks. Because I don't usually do a good job, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that one's pretty straightforward, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
What do we got on the 8th?
The sales pitch compliment.
Oh, like they're trying to get something from you?
Yep. It's very, it definitely shows a lot more in salespeople or just people who work in that service industry. And
I want to say that's the type where you can tell there's emptiness in it.
Definitely.
That's what it is. Empty compliments are worthless. So this is the type
because you're just trying to get something from them.
Yeah.
And
it's like you don't actually mean it. Lack of being genuine. And even if you do mean it, you're only saying it for the purpose of, and it's just used to, it can even be something to gain something emotionally or physically, and physically by like financially, you get stuff from it physically, or emotionally, like, hey, give me a compliment. I want something back. I want something in return. They're like, hey, I like your shoes. And then you just sit there and wait.
Yeah.
What do you like about me? I think that's called fishing.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah. So sales pitch, you're just trying to get something by complimenting someone else.
Gotcha.
And the last one isn't really, I wouldn't say a type.
Okay. It's just something.
It's just the right compliment.
All right. What's the right? Give me the right compliment. I want to hear this perfection.
You pretty much already went over this, but it's a sincere, respectful, compliment without getting something in return. Like you genuinely mean it.
It's giving.
It's just giving and not receiving.
No expectation of receiving. Because I can give something to someone and they could give something to me. But the proper compliment would be giving someone without expecting that gift in return.
Yeah, she also puts in the right amount of doses.
That probably goes with frequency.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
like I said, it's definitely varies for everyone, but I thought that was interesting. That, the ninth one not necessarily being a type, I guess, because it's more of just how to really properly give out a compliment. So I thought that was just interesting. And like you said, it just compliments influence your self perception and how you think, and compliments are made to boost that and make you feel good.
So I actually wrote down here that compliments were connected to self-esteem. I mean, and one of the big things like you'll see is when somebody gets a compliment and they have, say, low self-esteem, they will deny that compliment half to hell. They won't accept it. They'll be like, no, because it contradicts what they feel is them. Yeah. So that's that, reflection that I'm talking about. You give them the compliment, you're pretty much putting a mirror like, this is you, right? And then they go, that's not me. So, I mean, that could be any sort of compliment, whether, they're just, not being self-respectful, or if maybe, your compliment is too low, maybe they think they're higher,
Oh,
so that could be, that could be a bit prideful, but people deny compliments all the time. Sometimes they just want to be, humble. They want to just be like, everyone's embarrassed of compliments. Everyone's embarrassed of compliments, Because I mean, sometimes it doesn't reflect who they are, they feel, or maybe they feel lower. Maybe they don't want to have the perception, of being higher. Yeah, stuff like that. So people deny things all the time. So compliments, all those compliments you listed, like things not to do and such, those were mostly verbal things.
Yes.
But deeper compliments, like how would one really put in deeper compliments? And that's something I was thinking of. Just, it's things or actions, that show what you admire about a person. Take something or an action that relates or teaches the other person about a quality, like a good quality of their character or of what they do. So I mean, an act could be a compliment. It really, you want to attach it to something the person cares about. Because if they don't care about it, that goes with a lot of the stuff you were talking about. If they don't care about that thing you're talking about, it's not a compliment to them. It's all about that context. If they're worried about something, they need reassurance. Maybe they feel like they don't look good as a person, but you generally think they look good as a person. If you give them that compliment, hey, you look beautiful today, they will take that. That'll be an amazing compliment. And maybe it's the person who feels like that every day. So, with that frequency thing, to them, it's not overdoing it because they need that. They're very concerned about it. And they shouldn't be concerned about it, right? So they need that compliment, right? Something that pertains to them. And, surface level compliments can be good too. I like your shirt. But if it pertains to, I just got this shirt, it's new, thank you. I'm so happy somebody noticed my fucking shirt. I saw it in the store and it made me feel like brilliant. I just lit up and it was amazing. So you could really change someone's self-esteem with a compliment.
Funny enough, just with the whole shirt thing.
Yeah.
Going back to the envious thing. One of the examples was actually, if you're asking someone about their shirt and where they got it, the other person sometimes wouldn't be so receptive in responding because they could just say, got it in the trash.
Yeah, that's
or like, hey, where'd you get that cool, I don't know, necklace? It's like, oh, it was passed down in the family. Like, sorry, you can't really get one.
So this kind of goes to the last thing I was looking into, because I thought about, deeper compliments, whatever. But one of the biggest problems that people have isn't necessarily coming up with compliments, it's taking compliments. Because when you fail to take a compliment, it could turn a positive thing to a negative thing, just like you're talking about. So if if somebody says, hey, I like your shirt, and you're like, I actually hate this shirt, and they go, oh, and you're like, yeah, you like that shirt?
Sponsor us.
No, I wouldn't take that sponsorship.
Well, I mean, it's just an opportunity.
Oh, okay. Just saying.
I'm not saying that we take it. It's just, I want them baking.
Yeah, for those listening, he was pointing to a logo on his shirt. But receiving compliments. So here's some don'ts. Don't correct people. So like, hey, I like your, like trench coat. Let's say trench coat. And they're like, oh, it's actually a raincoat. Like, okay, you just turned this into a negative experience.
So
they like your coat.
This is from the other person receiving it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm just making sure.
on the receiving portion, don't be correcting people, unless it's really, really necessary. But most of the time, people just want to express, that thing is beautiful, or that's enjoyable, or there's a quality about it that they like. Don't correct people on it. Just let them do what they're going to do, and that's beyond verbal too. Like sometimes when somebody does something as a compliment or buys you something as a compliment, sometimes it's not a good thing. You're like, oh, don't do that. It's actually going to ruin a lot of things. Sometimes it's like, hey, even if they miss the mark a little bit, it's not going to hurt anyone. Let them draw you that picture. Let them buy you that gift, because they, they really want to show you something that they like about you, or that they love you, or something like that.
Yep.
So don't correct people on it. Don't try to slip out of the spotlight. So don't try to just run away. Just, hey, I really like when you do this. I gotta go. Sorry. Bye. That's so hollow, it's very disrespectful. Yeah, it invalidates that person's, feeling toward you and something special about you. It makes things awkward sometimes. Don't deny or deflect. Same thing. Take that shit, because when you deflect, I really like your shirt. Oh, I mean, it's nothing. Again, it invalidates that person's perception. Like, okay, that's actually a good shirt. Oh, no, it's not. It's trash. It's garbage. Can you shut the fuck up, please? It's a nice shirt. I'm just trying to,
for sure,
give you something. And don't overshare. That could cause a very awkward situation. You're telling your whole life story about your shirt, and the person was like, I just liked your shirt. I don't want to be here. I can let me go. Yeah. Just, you don't have to do much, and don't brag about it either. Don't make them feel like they're trash because they like something that you have. So kind of some things to focus on when receiving a compliment, some do's, right? Focus on the meaning of the compliment and the praise. Wholeheartedly accept what they're saying. Of course, if it's a real one, a genuine one, like if someone really likes your shirt, hey, thanks. Maybe there is a better meaning to it besides that. Like they just love your character, and that shirt really fits your character. Maybe there is more to it. Really kind of hone in on the core of the compliment. Someone does an act of service for you. Why did they do that? There's something they appreciate about you. Focus in on that, really feel that, and just kind of reflect, wholeheartedly accept it. Biggest thing, say thank you. Bottom line, that is the bottom line of just any compliment, whether it's good, bad, backhanded. Sometimes the best thing to do, don't deflect it, don't argue, just say thank you. If it's a real, genuine compliment, people will feel, like, okay, yeah, I said this to this person accepted it. They enjoyed that I said that. Say they're trying to be a backhanded compliment. Thank you. That's it. You ended the interaction. You can move on. So it just does well. Bottom line, say thank you. Another thing, give credit to who or what is responsible for giving you what is being complimented. So pretty much, say you have really great hair. Man, your hair is absolutely beautiful. Thank you. I get it from my, mother. I get it from my father. They always took care of their hair. I do the same thing. Give credit. Don't deny that you have pretty hair. You don't need to deflect. Just, give a little credit somewhere else. It's a very positive thing. And then another thing, maybe give a compliment back. Although this one, be careful, because unless it's a real, genuine compliment, it will only make the whole situation negative again. Because it's like, oh man, your character is fantastic. You just light up the room when you walk in. Thanks. I really like your shirt. Okay. That's like, nothing about my character. Sorry, I didn't have time to think about these things about your character, So just really, with that one, if you have something you genuinely can say and it won't fall flat, go ahead and say it. It'll make the interaction positive. With compliments, ones that were deeper, real compliments, they actually, for days, they studied this. I forget how they studied this, but for up to like a couple days after, people will feel good and have a higher esteem from a compliment. Couple days.
That's okay.
Imagine someone you've told me about somebody complimenting you before, like days later, and you were feeling happy about it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember specific instances. I remember it happening though, if that makes any sense.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I know I'm not accepting compliments.
But that's the biggest thing though. Out of all of this, just say thank you. Just accept it. Like, hey, you just make everyone so happy. Thank you.
I think I usually deflect and deny.
Yeah, don't fucking do that. Just say thank you. That's all you have to do. You might want to go wild in different directions. All you have to say is thank you, and it'll complete that interaction.
All this compliment talk reminded me of when I was really young and I was working at my parents' restaurant. I think I might have been like 13 or 14. This lady comes in and is just like, "Wow, you're really thin. How do you get like that?" I was like, I don't know. It's kind of natural. But in my head, I'm just like, yeah, I have an eating disorder and I'm considered anorexic and unhealthy because I don't eat.
Yeah, that would be oversharing.
But yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
Oh God, yeah, no. But what I'm really a fan of is, deeper compliments, because they last with you longer. It's just more. There's more beauty to the interaction when compliments aren't just words. Words definitely have power, and give a compliment to someone, but don't always just give worded compliments to people. Show them, give something. Yeah, and really think about who they are as a person, what they enjoy, what they care about, and out of those things, what do you enjoy? What do you respect? Compliment those things, and compliments go such a long way. They brighten everyone's day. They elicit smiles, reactions, good feelings. So let's go out and compliment some people and make it real too.
Yeah, your task is to do 10 a day. 10 compliments a day.
Whoa. Hey, man. Just
surface level compliments.
Just try one. Just go one. Don't go crazy.
All right, do 5. I'll make it easier.
Because who knows? Maybe someone's compliment, it takes a whole week to set up, and then like driving through like it's an event or something. That's their
Brandon?
compliment. Don't even.
I really do like your shirt just because we are practically matching in color.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoy that shirt because it, yeah.
Thank you.
Was that out of context? No. That actually reminds me of my dad used to do vending routes. And so that the logo and then the shirt and such, he didn't work for that company, but just that logo, it just forever ingrained in my head. And so I saw it today when I walked in and I was just like, huh. Like just the polo reminded me of the vending routes, and same thing with the logo. So it's kind of took me back a little.
Yeah, it's a good polo. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
all right.
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram.
Well, such a call to action there.
Let's like, subscribe, comment.
Hey, when you comment
down below,
comment a compliment to somebody. Maybe just open-ended compliments, general compliments
on our YouTube channel.
Yes. And also, if you have any interesting things you were thinking of or topics, throw it on there. We'll look at it, we'll see what's up, and maybe talk about it.
Most definitely.
So with that, guess I'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.